Hello,
everybody, and welcome back to the McDoncast, the funnest podcast in town.
We're gonna keep this bit going.
Yeah, it's gonna eventually just be.
Yep, there's Patrick. Yep, thank you,
Patrick's back, and he's quieter than the rest of us because we don't know how to do a podcast.
Well, it's technical.
We've only been doing a podcast for
2 years.
how long?
2 years now.
Oh,
Almost 2 years. All right. Anyways, welcome back, everybody. We've got some top of the line news this week. Mostly gaming stuff, a little bit of Disney stuff, a little bit of DC stuff, a little bit of Pokemon stuff. Lots of things going on, lots of moves, lots of grooves. We also have a review for the Woman King. The new, I keep forgetting her name.
The Viola Davis?
Viola Davis. The new Viola Davis movie. Well, actually, she's not the main character. She's just kind of in it a lot.
She's kind of the main character.
We'll
get to it.
We'll get there. But yeah, we got that going on. And Patrick is on here. Patrick, say hi.
Let's go.
Yeah, he's back. Oh, now. Okay, so he was just talking too quiet. Now it's going like to a normal volume.
I have literally not changed the way I've been talking.
Okay.
Maybe you turn the volume up on his computer.
Okay, did not do that, but
Patrick,
sure.
we're just gonna say
well,
that's
it's
what
working.
happened.
That's the thing. All right.
No, the fun part about having Patrick back is now I have to do more editing than usual.
Yeah, you got to put a PNG.
I gotta put a PNG of him in the corner.
And yeah, we also have last week's episode playing in the background.
Oh, I thought we just weren't gonna acknowledge that.
Well, no, we've already acknowledged it now. So hopefully, as the weeks go on,
Yes.
it'll get smaller and smaller. And
Well, it'll just
going.
be like you and then a million tiny yous going out into nowhere.
Yeah, just like the show. All right. Alrighty. Starting things off, we have a brand new Iron Man game.
That's
Tucker,
right.
give us the scoop.
So there's a new single player, third person Iron Man game in development at Motive Studios, which is owned by EA,
That's a studio.
which
Oh,
is
that's gonna be
very
good.
exciting.
That means it's gonna be so good. Such a good.
It's a
I love the things he does every time.
Every time they only make bangers at EA.
So Marvel Games put out a press release saying that they're collaborating on an all-new single-player, third-person action-adventure Iron Man game, now in early development. It'll have an original narrative that taps into the rich history of Iron Man, channeling the complexity, charisma, and creative genius of Tony Stark.
So they're making the Spider-Man game, but it's Iron Man now.
Sam, they're enabling players to feel what it's like to truly be Iron Man.
Oh, like how every single
That's in the
superhero
press
game,
release.
It always says it makes you feel like insert character name.
Mm-hmm.
Like how every Batman game really makes you feel like Batman, and how every Spider-Man game really makes you feel like Spider-Man.
So the team that is working on the game is led by the same guy who is led by a guy who worked on
Just
the
a
Guardians of the
single
Galaxy
man?
game. No, I don't know what she's eating right now, by the way.
Yeah, it's okay. Probably
Yeah, I never know.
probably a towel or
We're
something.
talking about the dog, by the way. She's here.
Podcast Dog's back.
Podcast Dog
Go
is always
dogs.
here and always eating garbage.
Always eating garbage.
I love podcast.
It's not a joke. So if you're wondering what Motive Studios has worked on before, they worked on Star Wars Battlefront 2,
Yeah, people
along with DICE
played that game a little bit.
and Criterion.
What?
This is a Motive Studio. They made Star Wars Squadrons all by themselves, which I
Mhm.
hear is good. So that's good news.
Well, it's a remake, right?
Squadrons was an original game.
I thought it was wasn't it like a redo of X-Wing Fighter or whatever?
It was like a spiritual successor, but like
Yeah.
I heard it's good, but it's mostly multiplayer and the story mode's like really short.
Yeah, I mean it's a
They're doing the Dead Space remake right now, which is supposed to come out next year. They're doing that all by themselves.
which one?
The remake, not the sequel.
Not the like million other Dead Space.
No, they're not
games?
doing the reboot. They're doing the remake of the original game.
Right, but not any of those other ones.
No, none of the other ones.
Okay.
And then they're working on this Iron Man game. So this will be their fourth project they've ever worked on.
And that's do we know anything else about it? Is there a trailer or anything?
They put out a picture of Iron Man with the
well,
Marvel. That's it.
All right, guys, it's
Go
just a
Iron
silhouette of Iron Man, and that's
They got
literally it.
Robert Downey Jr. to do the voice.
They don't.
did?
No, they didn't. He will
Is
never.
that a lie?
Yeah, that's a lie, Patrick.
Well, I didn't
Patrick
make it up,
just
so.
says something and hopes it's true. Wait, is that a lie?
No, it's not a lie. It's misunderstanding. That's how we get away with being wrong.
All
the
right,
time.
moving
I'm
on.
Hey,
just
his
saying
arc
wrong
reactor
things.
is like a diamond shape now.
Oh, it's different. Well, isn't Ironheart's like a different shape?
Ironheart's is like a
Isn't it like kind of a
sliver.
heart shape?
No, for a character named Ironheart, the actual arc reactor is not shaped like a heart.
Well, Iron Man's isn't shaped like a man.
That's true. So Ironheart's is like it's like
I
a
thought it was
shield.
like a little heart.
It kind of looks like one. It's like a shield shape.
Okay, anyway, moving on.
Oh no, it is a heart.
It is
Yeah,
a heart.
It's like a weird looking heart.
Oh, yeah, it's just sort of a misshapen heart.
Yeah.
Anyway, next up on the docket, Sony released their calendar shuffle.
So
Is this for games or movies?
this is for movies.
Okay, which movies are
It's
we
our
talking-
favorite movie studio in the world.
They only make they made
They
the voice
only
team,
make
so we're gonna talk
bangers.
about it a little bit.
This is
Oh my
Sony,
gosh,
our
don't-
friends at Sony.
Oh, Sony, yes.
Yes, Sony. Okay,
I don't
yeah.
I don't hear him.
He was just saying yes, Sony. Yes,
Oh.
yes.
I love
Uh,
Sony.
He loves Sony.
We all love
I want
Sony.
them to make more films.
They only make bangers.
Well,
I'm
guess
saying.
what, Patrick? If you're looking forward to the animated Garfield film from Sony, starring Chris Pratt and Samuel L. Jackson,
Yes, Chris Pratt, guys. You heard that right.
as Garfield, it's sadly been delayed to May 24th, 2024. So you're gonna have to wait even longer to watch
Absolute
Garfield.
travesty.
I believe it was in March of 2024 before, so that's not a huge delay.
What are you talking about? This is the Garfield movie. This is a monstrous. I demand this movie be released tomorrow.
Madam
You know
Web,
what? I hope they move it up to the same day the Mario movie comes out.
that would be awesome.
Then we get double Chris Pratt playing characters that he has no business.
All they would
playing.
have to do was just like move the entire release calendar up a year, and
That's
just
fine. That's fine.
I mean, it's just have them work like 24/7. I mean, the animators
just
don't
like
matter.
just like to remove their human rights for a week.
Yeah,
They
yeah. You
can
just give them a
handle
bucket and
it.
have them sit at their desk and animate for just like
Exactly.
a year on
They're
end.
so good. They don't even need any freedom or time to themselves.
We just have to like have them animate an entire film from start to finish from scratch in like
they'll figure it out.
not
6
that
months. It's
hard.
not
They'll
hard.
make it work. It'll be
Hard.
just like Frozen
Do
2.
better.
It'll be just like
Real.
remember when they were changing Frozen 2 like key plot points like
Remember
2
when
months
they
before
didn't
it came
know what
out?
the ending was going to be until a week before the movie released globally?
Yeah, they were just like, we'll figure it out later. Like
And
they
then
literally
later
had to.
came and they didn't know.
Remember when Disney filmed the documentary about it? Like they were like bragging about the fact that they don't
And
know
then
how
it
to
went
make a movie,
horrible?
and they were horrible. It's if
Guys,
you
we overworked our employees to the point where they were like super stressed and all about to have mental breakdowns.
no,
Go
my,
on.
Disney magic.
no, I think that's probably the most underrated thing on Disney Plus.
Yeah, if you have Disney Plus,
Dude,
watch
I
the
love-
making of
the,
Frozen 2
it's
documentary.
called Into the Unknown, the documentary.
actually great.
It's
Watched it
amazing.
like
It's like 6
20
episodes. They're all like
times.
an hour, but it's like it really keys you in on how Disney works, and it's just absolute like.
And there's
utter
even
idiocy.
stuff like
Disney's
in the
own
documentary
studio, that's Pixar.
when like they were like, no, we don't want
Disney
cameras in
Studios.
today, and you know they're just gonna chew out like all the.
Yeah, they're just
animators.
gonna yell at all the animators for not being fast enough.
Sorry, what were you saying, Patrick?
We've never missed a due date. We've never missed
They've
one.
never missed
Oh, yeah.
a due date ever.
At one point, the director is like, I don't know if it was the
I
director
think he's a producer.
or one of the producers is like he's sitting there and he's like sweating bullets.
He's like
his face
literally
is bright
he's
red. He's like,
crying.
we've never missed a release date. And we're not missing one now. He's like he is going like full mental
Yeah.
breakdown.
Anyway, back to dumb Sony garbage. Madam Web has moved to February 16th, 2024. It's moved back, I believe,
Okay, if
6 months.
If it's that far out, just say the year, because you clearly don't know
No.
what the day is.
Movie studios always games. It's random. A game can come out like a video game can come out any weekend.
Yeah.
It doesn't really matter because it's essentially just like going to a store and buying.
Well,
product.
except for the holiday ones.
But even then, they do that just so they can sell around the holidays.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
like, you can, if you put out a game March 7th instead of the 14th, it's not going to affect it.
Yeah.
The movies, they have to put these dates out year in advance for like marketing so that they can claim it before another studio does it. Because
Yeah.
like, there's big viewing habits on when do the people go to the movies and when they
Like
don't.
when they did Batman vs Superman and Civil War the same day.
Yeah, it's one of the main reasons that movies are so rushed is so that they can meet dates. So February 16th, they have to put that out there just so they have a date. But really, they have no idea when it's going to be finished because movies now are 75% cartoons. But I am Sam, I cannot believe we're gonna have to wait even longer to see beloved character Madam Web on the big
She's
screen.
like literally a non-character.
She's a disabled woman. She's like a
She's
90-year-old woman who can't see or walk.
She's like a god of like spiders.
She sits in front of a big web.
Yes, all she does is like tell the different Spider-Mans where to go and what to do. Like she's not an active force in the Marvel universe. She literally is just like that would be like if you made a whole movie about Batman's computer. Like yeah, it talks and it's useful, but it doesn't have an active role in Batman's story.
Yeah. And then sadly they moved the Kraven the Hunter film.
My favorite.
To October 6th, 2023, a whole 10-month delay for Kraven the Hunter.
Well, no.
So we can perfect it. I feel like this is not, because this is already filmed. It was supposed to come out in January.
Mm-hmm.
I think it probably doesn't have too bad production delays. I would say that probably the main reason for this is that Venom and Venom 2 both came out early October and did really well at that date, so they're just trying to put something out at the same time. And then a new movie that they announced while releasing these release date schedule is that they're doing another Karate Kid film that's going to come out June 7th, 2024 in theaters. Now, and they said this is going to be in the same
it's
universe as the original films.
But none of the actors from Cobra Kai have said that they or known anything about this at all.
One of the creators of Cobra Kai went on Twitter and was like, "Hey, I didn't know about this until today, and as far as I know, none of the storylines or characters within this show are related to that thing. So this will be a karate." Are you talking, Patrick?
No, I think
no, I don't talk.
Yeah, I think he's glitching out.
I think so. This will be presumably will be a Karate Kid movie without Danny. That's the main character, right?
Danny LaRusso, yeah.
Yes, I remember things. Mr. Miyagi, Kreese,
Lawrence,
the
other guy.
So none of the Karate Kid characters will be in this Karate Kid film.
Yeah.
Now.
Or any of the Cobra Kai characters. Who's the new cast?
Who is the new cast? Presumably, once you see this, like you'd be like, okay, that's gonna be like the series finale of Cobra Kai is gonna be a movie, right?
But then you'd think the creators probably would have known about that.
But it just isn't. This is just something else. They tried making a Karate Kid movie on its own twice before.
Of course, if anyone remembers the Jaden Smith.
They made the Jaden Smith one with Jackie Chan, which was not about karate; it was about kung fu. Which I believe made money. Thing. I believe that movie made.
I thought it had a sequel.
No, it didn't.
I thought it did. For some reason, I remember that movie getting a sequel.
No, the thing that was notable about that movie is that Will Smith literally bought the rights to Karate Kid just so he could make that movie for his son.
Does Will Smith still own the rights
to
Karate Kid?
He licenses them to Netflix. He's an executive producer on Cobra Kai because he owns the rights to Karate Kid. Which it's weird to me that he hasn't somehow shoehorned any of his kids or himself into that show at this point.
Yeah, you'd think like he would. Oh, you know what? Maybe you know how they have like the celebrity guest announcers at the Karate Kid tournaments or whatever.
You think he's gonna pop up?
I think maybe he should pop up and what is like one of the announcers one year.
He said that. So the creators of Cobra Kai said that the Jaden Smith one is not in the universe.
Yeah, it's not canon.
So that's its own thing.
Why.
But there is, of course, the next Karate Kid, which was the Hilary Swank version, which was the fourth main film in the series, and had Danny wasn't in it, but Mr. Miyagi was. But that movie bombed horribly, and no one remembers it.
But it's still canon.
It is still canon, and Hilary Swank keeps saying that she's eventually going to show up on Cobra Kai, and I'm like, just do it already. You're out of ideas.
Well,
speaking of, there was a season.
We still haven't seen.
I still haven't watched it yet. I just haven't had time. I just I'll wait. I'll do it eventually.
It's already finished. Like
they dropped it. It's Netflix. They dropped it all.
Yeah, we probably should have reviewed that.
Nobody was talking about it though. So.
Yeah, it just kind of flew under the radar. Well, because I feel like something else came out at the same time.
I believe it was the Woman King.
It was Game of Thrones.
Oh yeah, House of the Dragon.
House of the Dragon came out the same day, and no one was talking about
Cobra Kai. What are they on? Season 5?
Yeah, season 5.
And also they moved it up. Because normally the seasons were coming out like every New Year's, but they moved this one to September, which was only like 8 months since the last season.
Because it was Cobra Kai.
I feel like they should have waited a little bit longer.
It was Cobra Kai, Game of Thrones, and
Lord of the Rings.
All within like a few days of each other.
Yeah, it was a lot. It was not. They probably should have. They should have put it back in like November. I feel like November would have been a better place for Cobra Kai. Anyway,
That's gonna bite me.
Sam.
Anyway,
what do you think this is? I feel like they're just gonna do Karate Kid again.
Yeah, it's just gonna be a soft
for
reboot.
the fourth time.
They're
just gonna do
reboot
Karate Kid again.
It'll be like Mr. Miyagi's
Dude, it gets better
kid.
every time.
Does Mr. Miyagi have kids?
No.
Okay.
He did, but his son died in a concentration camp.
That was actually a lie.
Oh, we're gonna retcon that.
Rewriting history. His son survived.
We're just gonna eliminate a key part of his character motivation
because he learned ninjutsu. Because we gotta keep doing different martial arts.
But we're still gonna call it the Karate Kid.
Yeah, and because he was in Japan, right?
He's from Okinawa. He was fighting in the.
Was Mr. Miyagi Japanese?
He was from Okinawa, which is in Japan.
I thought he was Chinese, but he was.
No, he was from Japan.
He was from Japan?
I believe so.
I'm pretty sure he was Chinese and he was like on a boat and it washed him into Japan.
Mr. Miyagi. I don't think that's how it happened.
I'm pretty sure
he learned karate in the military. Yeah, he was born in Okinawa, Japan. He learned karate from his father, who was the richest man in the village. This is all stuff from Karate Kid 2. Whatever. He fought in World War II for the U.S. Army. But while he was in the army, they put his family in a concentration camp, and that's when
an internment camp.
Yeah, and that's when his wife and kid died.
Okay, that makes
because the U.S. did those, by the way. I don't know if
that
you
was
knew
the thing that happened.
Because racism and horrible mistreatment of people.
We only did good things. I'm sorry.
Yeah. So he's from Japan, and his kid is dead.
Yeah. So
I don't know if his kid was ever born. I think it might have been like an unborn kid.
Oh yeah, wait, yeah. Wasn't it his
I think his pregnant wife died.
So yeah. Oh goodness. Changing that, his wife did have the kid, died in childbirth. They kept the kid a secret from him. The kid then grew up to be a ninja, and then he learned ninjutsu, and he owns a private dojo in Japan. And the next Karate Kid is also, again, not learning karate, and also it happens in Japan this time.
So we're doing this one in Japan?
Yeah, because that's super marketable right now.
In Japan.
Well, if anything, they want to do it in China again so they can get the Chinese audience.
No, but no American movies are playing in China, so...
Yeah, but Japan doesn't go to the movies.
Yeah, they do. They're like the second biggest theater audience
in the world.
They're like
the ninth.
Well, other than China, obviously, but I'm
it's
pretty
like
sure
China, the U.S., and Canada, because they're counted as the same place, because Canada...
All the movies are the same here.
Yeah, they don't do anything different.
North America.
Yeah, we count it as one region. And then it's like countries in Europe, and then it's like some other things, and then it's Japan.
Okay, well, they're probably the biggest not English-speaking country to go to the movies.
Yeah, their movies make I don't know. Their biggest movies are stuff made in Japan. They don't see U.S. movies that as much as
and
other countries do. Like Europe, they all watch U.S. movies because they're not making anything over there.
They don't make movies in Europe.
China, they're big because the government funds all their films, and they're sometimes required to see by law.
Totally normal.
And they adjust the ticket prices according to the films that are coming out. So if you're thinking, they can mandate that you see a movie and then charge $200 per ticket. And oh my gosh, they're breaking records.
And you have to go see it. Okay, anyway, so Karate Kid.
Yeah, they're gonna do the same thing again.
It's gonna be a reboot. If they don't, it's gonna be that weird thing I said where it's like Mr. Miyagi's kid, and it's
they're gonna do something.
Maybe his long lost brother or something. I don't know. They'll do something.
It's
gonna be dumb, whatever it is. All right, what's the next thing?
So that was Sony, and at the same time, Disney also revealed their release calendar for the next 2 years.
All kinds of movements and groovements.
Next Goal Wins, which is a Searchlight movie from Taika Waititi. This is the movie he made before he made Thor: Love and Thunder.
And I guess they
it just sat on it.
Oh,
but
Thor: Love and Thunder was so good.
That's Patrick's favorite.
He loves Thor: Love and Thunder.
Just like Multiverse of Madness. Those are both Patrick's favorite movies.
This is going to be an excuse for me to put a card linking the Pat review in the corner of the screen.
No, we would never do something.
It's going to be on this hand. It's going to be on this side of the thing. It's right there.
That thing that just popped up.
Oh, now I'm going to have to find this exact moment when I edit this later.
It's going to be so funny.
That's going to be so fun for me. Anyway, Next Goal Wins. The reason it was delayed is because Army Hammer was in it.
Arm & Hammer, the
Army Hammer.
Oh, not the laundry
Mr. Cannibal himself. Can I say that? Is that slander?
Did he eat someone?
He was accused of it.
Is that?
It was a whole scandal. He's not allowed to work in Hollywood anymore for various reasons.
Okay.
I can look it up if you want.
Allegedly.
Allegedly. That was what he was accused of. I don't know anything else. Don't ask me about it.
Well,
Abuse
that's
allegations. Oh my gosh, there's so many. Oh.
I don't believe it.
Is it worse?
Oh, it's so much worse. Oh, okay.
Is it like the Rick
So
and
he
Morty
sucks
thing?
for various reasons.
Well, I would assume so.
I won't get into it because it's horrible and inhumane, and he's
All
a
right, well,
horrible man.
We can talk
But
about that after.
they were replaced. They had to go back and reshoot all his scenes with
Now
Will
I'm
Arnett in his
interested in
place.
you, and
Makes
you're not even
sense.
going to tell me.
Sorry, what, Patrick?
Now everybody who's watching is going to be interested, and you're not going to tell them.
Just Google it on your own time.
Go to Wikipedia and you can read the abuse allegations section of his Wikipedia bio, which is a whole section, because there's about 7 different cases.
Great.
It's not even
That's like if you look up Marlon Brando, there's literally an entire section of his Wikipedia called it's labeled comments on Jews in Hollywood.
Oh,
What?
that's a section.
Yup, real cool guy that Marlon Brando.
All right. Anyway, what is Disney doing?
Right. Disney wants you to not know about any of that. The Next School Wins is going to come out April 21st of 2023. They also dated Wish, which we talked about in the last episode. That's their animated film for November 22nd, 2023. That's their yearly Thanksgiving release. There's a mosquito right there, Sam.
Yeah, I know. I'm waiting for it to land so I can hit it.
He's going to bite me later.
Don't land on my...
Ah!
Die.
Okay.
Dead now.
There
Anyway.
goes the audio peaking. That's going to be
That's
fun.
fine. It's going to be great. It's going to sound so good.
Our Spotify listeners are going to love it. Elio, which is another Pixar movie that's going to come out March 1st, 2024. Snow White, the
Elio?
remake, is going to come out March 22nd of
Did you say
2024.
Elio?
What, Patrick?
Did you say Elio?
Elio.
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 I thought you said Elio, which at our school stands for love each other, and it's the motto of our football team.
All right.
The
Good to know.
football team is love each other?
Yes.
That's
Did
an
it-
interesting
Well, at
one.
least it's not love the other team.
Shouldn't it be like play
Yeah,
football?
No, it's hate the other team. That's my
Hate the
motto.
other team, love each other.
All right.
Yeah.
Interesting
Love each
motto.
other as long as they're not wearing the other team's jersey.
Mufasa,
Conditionally love each other.
Mufasa the Lion King is going to come out May 7th of 2024. Inside Out 2 is going to come out June 14th of the same year. And 2 untitled Marvel films have been dated for February 16th and September 6th of 2024. I believe, I don't know if there's any empty spots from the Comic-Con announcement that they made. Phase
Interesting.
2024, that's phase 5, right?
Yeah. Phase 4.
Because we're in
ends-
phase 4 right now.
And that ends with Ant-Man.
So the only movies dated for 2024 are Captain America and Thunderbolts.
I thought
Which
the Marvels was too.
The Marvels is 2023.
Okay.
So I believe Fantastic Four is supposed to come out the same year. So that's probably the September one, I would assume. And then February, that's probably going to be something else. Let me see what else they got cooking in the pot.
All right. What else is moving?
Something
Yeah, what
else,
do they
some
got
other Marvel
cooking?
thing. And
It's
then
a Marvel thing.
the next Star Wars film that's currently untitled. We don't know whose it is.
We don't even know whose it is.
It's going to be December 19th, 2025.
Is it like the
That's
the,
a
the
long
Patty
ways
Jenkins
away.
one,
Well,
or
As
Kevin
we've discussed
Feige
multiple
one,
times.
or the Ryan Johnson one? Or...
Oh, Ryan Johnson's not allowed to make Star
Yeah,
Wars.
he's not
movies.
making it. That's never coming out.
he's too busy just making all those Knives Out films. He's
Yeah,
just too
he
busy.
loves it so much. Too much.
He would never ever want to work on Star Wars again.
No.
Now it was supposed to, of course, be Patty Jenkins's Rogue Squadron,
But
but she got fired. And
no, she's just
sorry,
so busy.
she had to step down because she's so busy and creative differences. And now
Making
the movie's
a
gone.
Cleopatra movie that will
Yeah.
probably also never. Come.
Oh no, she got. Oh, sorry, she had to step down from directing that from creative differences as well.
He's making no movie.
And Wonder Woman 3 is in development hell. So Patty Jenkins is just, she's just having so many creative differences. She just can't put a movie.
well, I
together.
mean, after Wonder Woman 2 was such a smash hit, I'm sure the studio was real into all her
It's just,
suggestions.
I don't. You just gotta take a bet at some point, because what keeps happening is they hire him after a good movie, and then their next movie is not good, and then they fire them from the Star Wars movie. Just Just let it
Which
let it happen.
Like 3 directors now.
No, it's happening to more than 3. We
I
talked
think
about it
actually everyone that's directed
a few episodes ago.
movie, except for Rogue One. I think every director.
She's only made 3 movies. I didn't know she's only made 3.
Well, one of
she didn't make a movie. She didn't direct a movie for 14 years.
What was the what's her not Wonder Woman movie?
Monster.
What on earth is that?
It's about a serial killer.
So she's made.
It got Charlize Theron an Oscar.
Well, that's good.
And I think she won an Oscar as well for that, for writing it, I think.
All right, what's next? What's moving?
Anyway, the Rogue Squadron, it's not happening anymore. So I'm assuming because Thor: Love and Thunder did not turn out as the studio expected it to, and
They're
probably didn't
examining that Star Wars
and
movie.
probably didn't make any money. Taika Waititi is probably going to get the boot here in the next few months.
He's such a funny guy.
As long as he doesn't get to do whatever he wants, he's a great director.
That's right. And so it's probably gonna, if this doesn't get booted from the calendar as well, whatever that Kevin Feige thing is, that's probably the next one.
Makes sense.
His will be the only one that's actually allowed to get made.
You can't get rid of Kevin Feige.
Yeah, because he's running like basically all of their everything right now.
Disney's like mega cash cow.
He's their golden boy.
He has way too much power in that company for for what's her face?
Anyone.
Lucasfilm woman. What's her name? Kathleen Kennedy.
Kathleen Kennedy. Yes.
He has way too much power for her to step in and be like,
See, that's how disconnected we are from Star Wars discourse at this point. When you get to the point where you're not like just hating on Kathleen Kennedy all the time, like, are you even a Star Wars fan
I
anymore?
just like,
because like,
honestly,
you know how they just like relentlessly hate on her for like absolutely no reason?
I don't blame her, because if like, I mean, I don't blame her like as like,
well, it's not her fault.
Entirely her problem, because I feel like if it was like her just being crazy, like the studio would have stopped her.
Yeah, they would have.
But like, and there's obviously something going on where just like they have a major, like the studio has a mandated version of what Star Wars is and can be, and anytime anyone even like remotely tries to step out of the box, they just do not agree with them.
Yeah,
I still think the next Star Wars movie should be whatever the culmination of the Mandalorian arc stuff is.
So like just like the War for Mandalore, make that a movie.
Because they're building up the Thrawn, right? Whatever the Thrawn thing is.
Whatever's going on with Thrawn.
That should just be a movie. Like the finale should just be a theatrical film. Because they've built up all this goodwill with the people who watch the TV shows.
Yeah.
And so, and it's not like you're like...
Well, I don't know. Even then, the goodwill with the TV shows is starting to fade a little bit too. Because people didn't like Boba Fett.
Mandalorian Season 3 is going to revive that, though. Everyone's coming back on the hype train.
We hope. But like Boba Fett didn't do super great. Obi-Wan, which arguably had more hype than Mando Season 3, also was kind of a letdown for a lot of people.
Yeah, but that's not the same people who are working on...
What, Patrick?
It redeemed itself, sort of.
A little bit. But like, the people who worked on Obi-Wan are the same people who did the Mandalorian stuff.
Yeah.
And like, the best part of Book of Boba Fett was the Mandalorian episodes. Like, they're still super good at making the Mandalorian part of the Mandalorian.
That's clearly the part they care about.
Yeah, the reason Book of Boba Fett is bad is because Jon Favreau didn't care enough to write an entire show.
Yeah.
Because they just made him make a Boba Fett thing.
Sorry, what Patrick? Okay, nothing for Patrick. All right,
what's still
next?
on the call?
Yeah, he's still on the call. He just didn't say anything. Yeah, he's still in.
I'm still here.
Okay. This is the fun episode, guys. We're so good at doing call-in shows. We should have a call-in show and just have it not work at all.
We'll do that. Next time we'll put him on a Bluetooth speaker.
Or not the McDoncast, the Brian's Life podcast when that was the thing.
We
didn't do any call-in episodes, but we also only made 2 episodes.
No, we never did a call-in show.
Fisher called in or someone else.
No, but we had people call in.
No, Patrick, that never happened.
Yeah, no, we had Chris call in.
Sam, we agreed that episode never happened.
Did we not post
it? We
deleted
deleted that one.
Why?
There's only ever 2. We recorded 3, but we only ever released 2.
Oh, I think we didn't edit
No, the second one was really bad.
Oh,
that was the call-in one. The call-in show did not work.
Yeah, I don't remember that at all. We had a podcast before this. It didn't really work.
It's probably...
I'm pretty sure it's still up.
Technically, it's better quality than this.
It was...
It had much more editing.
It was more structured.
And it was more structured. It was more fun, like, in terms of, like, from a viewing perspective, because it was, like, prepped. And
but it was, like, so boring to make. It was, like, the most soulless thing
It was
ever.
so tedious. But, like, this is probably more
we
boring
actually care
to
about
you.
talking about these things, though.
It's maybe. Hopefully.
Well, and, like, now we got the fun camera. We didn't have the camera at the old podcast.
We just had one angle. But we had...
Yeah.
Like, there was, like, reaction parts. We were making the H3
It was,
podcast.
yeah, we were copying.
We were ripping off the H3 podcast, like how Stranger Memes was just a rip off of H3 videos.
Yeah, and those were great.
Those are good videos.
Those are good videos. I like the Stranger Memes. Anyway,
Yeah,
that's
those
not
are
what
actually
are we talking
classics.
about? So next piece of news: DC, in their consistent flailing and misunderstanding what they're doing as a brand, has announced a Constantine film.
A sequel to the Constantine film they
So,
made like 12 years
If
ago.
you remember,
Which you do not. Don't even pretend you know what this movie is, okay? Don't. I know you don't, so don't pretend like you do.
so 17 years ago, there was a Constantine film starring Keanu Reeves as Constantine. It was a box office bomb. It was negatively received at the time, but for some reason over the past 15 years, it has received somewhat of a cult following. And also Keanu Reeves is popular again. And so Warner Brothers has decided...
His popularity comes in waves.
It's not really waves. He kind of was like super cool, and then he took a dip, and then he just came back all of a sudden because he was in like 5 really popular things all at once. Like his downfall, not really his downfall, but like his like descent began with like the Matrix sequels. Are you Discord moderating right now?
No, someone texted me. I was telling them that I can't text right now.
You just put can't text.
Well, I had to say I'm recording, can't text.
No, you don't.
Well, I already did, so get over it.
So, if you were following the news before, Warner Brothers was doing a Constantine TV series on HBO Max that
That was the plan, yeah.
that J.J. Abrams was going to produce, and that may or may not have been supposed to be part of the DCU.
I wonder if this is what he's been doing.
This movie?
Yeah,
It isn't.
He's supposed to be doing Justice League Dark.
He
That's
was.
what they hired him to do.
Okay.
He's done nothing
Yeah.
for like 7 years.
Mm-hmm.
This is a Justice League Dark character sometimes,
Yep.
kinda. So maybe he's been doing this.
So what happened was they hired J.J. Abrams and his company Bad Robot.
Yes.
They gave him like $500 million or something absurd like that. And he was supposed to work generally on Warner Brothers stuff, but they specifically wanted him to try to fix DC. And so he came in, he went, all right, I have an HBO TV series that I want to go make. And so he went and worked on this HBO TV show for a while. And then at the same time, he was like, oops, I just hit the microphone. That's
Don't worry about it.
He was like, I want to build an HBO Max Justice League Dark universe on HBO Max.
Yeah.
So they were going to do a Justice League Dark. I think it was supposed to be a movie on HBO Max. They were going to do a Constantine show. They were going to do a Madame Xanadu show. And then at the same time, he was also working on the Ta-Nehisi Coates Superman movie, which he was supposed to produce. And then he was also working on something else. I forget. The Batman animated show. He was working on that also.
He was working on like a bunch of stuff.
But when Discovery merged in, also these were all announced in like 2018.
Yeah,
Like,
these were all recently announced.
We heard nothing about them for like 3 years.
Yeah, so he was hired by DC, went missing for like half a decade.
Yeah, he did nothing.
Then they announced at DC Fandom last year a whole bunch of stuff that was coming to HBO Max. Then when they got bought by Discovery, they axed almost all of it.
So Discovery came in, they were axing stuff, and they were like, okay, we're paying J.J. Abrams like $100 million.
And he's doing nothing.
And he's literally just sitting in this chair in the break room and just sipping coffee,
He
not
just
working.
spins around and yells
He's
out names of
very-
characters.
He was essentially just
Whatever he's
promising
doing.
things and then just like sleeping on the job. So they cut his show, and apparently they're like shopping it around to other networks, but no one's gonna pick
No,
it
they're
up.
not.
Remember the Constantine TV show on NBC?
Yes.
It's in the Arrowverse.
Yes, I do remember that.
Yeah.
He shows up in Legends.
In Legends. He's like a main character on Legends for like a couple seasons.
Yeah, he was actually.
He's
in that
actually
show.
pretty good. That actor. I think his name is Matt
No,
Ryan.
he looks like the character too.
He's a really good Constantine. Keanu Reeves was less so, but that's
See, that was another thing that was like so sad about the Arrowverse is like everyone that they had cast
It was pretty good.
was actually really good at playing the character.
Stephen Amell was really good.
Like Grant Gustin was
Grant
an
Gustin was
awesome
really good
Flash.
early on.
The Reverse Flash.
He was real good.
What
Freaking
happened?
amazing.
How do you get worse? I don't.
Well, see, the
I'm sorry.
actors didn't get worse. The writing got worse.
The writing got worse, and the actors stopped caring.
And yeah, because
And the directing got worse too.
yeah, the production in general got worse, and so the
Yeah.
actors started caring less because everything sucked.
If you watch Candace Patton in that show past like season 5. She's either not in the episode or she's phoning it in.
Yeah, I mean, even Supergirl, she was like she was like
Yeah.
Supergirl, but like the writing it was just
Every
so bad.
season they have to come up with convoluted reasons for Iris to be missing just so that Candace Patton doesn't have to show up to set.
Yeah.
Um,
Even though like they could very easily just have her like not be in the show. They could just have her be she's like
no,
at
because
home.
it's canonical that that Barry's powers literally come from their love.
Yeah, except for they
need to
don't
have,
because
like,
like he was
No,
running before
Sam.
that.
The show. They cast out too big.
Sam, you remember in season seven, when he gets his powers back because he runs in a circle and she uses her love power on the magic orb to give him his speed back.
I did not get to the magic orb yet.
It's the same orb that killed all the Wells.
I didn't get there either.
So
Last season I watched was the XS season.
That was like season 5.
Yeah.
So basically, Harrison Wells put his hand on.
We don't need to summarize.
No, we do.
We do this like once a week.
No, we need to do this. He put his hand on the orb, and the orb killed all of the multiverse Wells that were living in his brain, and it made it into energy that gave Barry a new artificial speed force. But that artificial speed force was making him become a human robot man, like not like literally, but like his brain was behaving like a robot brain, like he had like no emotions, and so they destroyed that speed force. So all the Welleses died for no reason. So they destroyed that speed force. But then Iris, who had been missing for like 4 episodes, like inexplicably shows up randomly, puts her hand on the orb they used to create the speed force, and loves really hard while Barry runs in a circle, and that bursts the speed force back to life. Just alive now, and he has the speed again.
Yes.
And so it's canonical that the more they love each other, the more speed powers he has. Oh, and at the same time, by them loving each other, they also created other forces at the same time who possessed other people, who they now are just like say are their kids, and they refer to them as their parents, even though they're not related at all. And then the show went on for 2 more seasons.
All right. Good to know. All right, stop.
What are we talking about? Constantine.
Yes.
Oh, right. Okay,
Finish talking about that.
So they're making another movie that's the sequel to the 2005 one, which means presumably when this comes out, it'll have been like 20 years. Keanu Reeves is coming back.
Which is cool.
We
like Keanu Reeves.
And the director, Francis Lawrence, is returning also. No news on the script, but that's cool.
I would argue the guy in the show is better at Constantine than Keanu Reeves, but whatever.
Keanu Reeves has been saying for like the past couple of years that he would like really like to come back and do this again because he was a really big fan of the comics.
He just wants to be back in superhero stuff.
He says he's like he was a really big fan of the comic character, which is why he did the
movie
first movie.
Yeah.
Because like the studio only wanted him to do it because like he was big at the time.
Big and famous, yeah.
But like he was like, okay, I'm probably not perfect for this role, but I really want to do this character. But in that movie, he didn't even have the trench coat,
which is his only thing.
Which is his defining characteristic.
The only thing that's like doing Superman without the red cape,
which they also tried to do in the 90s.
Yeah, that was also dumb and bad, and no one liked it.
No, Sam, it was great. Superman Lives would have been awesome.
All right, what is the next thing?
Sam,
do we have any more? Oh yeah, on to
you have a big boy.
We got big boy news, big boy video game news. All right, guys. That's how big boy this news is. You have probably heard about me talk about this a little bit if you watch the streams. But GTA 6 has had the largest gaming leak in history. Never before has like this kind of crazy, like they leaked everything. They got 90 minutes of footage of like early gameplay. With like
GTA 6, right?
With like hitboxes and stuff still active. Which I mean, for the developers, like this absolutely sucks because like now your game is like, basically just caught with its pants off before it was ready to go on its date. You know what I mean? Like for the trailer, or whatever. That's the metaphor. Anyway, so that sucks. Apparently, the hacker who got all this stuff infiltrated a Slack group chat, pretending to be an employee. And then just asking them for the password.
Wow.
And then they let him in. He downloaded everything in the chat. And apparently there's rumors that he claims that he also has the source code for both GTA 6 and GTA 5 and GTA Online. Which could also, we don't know if that's true or not yet. But if that is true, that means that like all those player accounts could have major security
Yeah, I mean,
flaws
this is
now.
like a major security problem.
Yeah.
So Rockstar released a statement on Twitter about this. I'll read the full thing. We recently suffered a network intrusion in which an unauthorized third party illegally accessed and downloaded confidential information from our systems, including early development footage for the next Grand Theft Auto. At this time, we do not anticipate any disruption to our live game services nor any long-term effect on the development of our ongoing projects. We are extremely disappointed to have any details of our next game shared with you. What, Patrick?
What, Patrick?
Did we get any cool leaks from Grand Theft Auto?
We know. We'll get into that in a minute.
Yeah, we'll get. Where was I? We are extremely disappointed to have any details of our next game shared with you in this way. Our work on the next Grand Theft Auto game will continue as planned, and we remain as committed as ever to delivering an experience to you, our players, that truly exceeds your expectations. We will update everyone again soon, and of course, we will properly introduce you to this next game when it is ready. We want to thank everyone for their ongoing support through the situation, the Rockstar Games team. So the real thing that sucks here is that this is definitely going to lead to a crackdown on the actual employees at the studio, and it's going to make a lot of their lives much harder and worse. Just so some guy could get footage of like early hitbox testing of the next GTA game.
Yeah, this really sucks. And
I don't understand why.
Take-Two, who owns Rockstar, are notoriously litigious. They're arguably more so.
They're
going
to put this guy in jail.
Like
they're going to figure out a way to do that.
Like Nick, that salty Nick. He had been playing GTA for decades.
Yeah,
like I guess a decade. And they banned his account that he'd had since launch because he like used a money glitch one time.
That's cool. The FBI.
That's you remember horrible. Earlier this year we covered this. They tried to sue the developers of It Takes Two,
right?
Because their name sounds vaguely similar to theirs.
Yeah. The FBI has gotten involved, so this guy is definitely going to jail. We believe the attacker. This was from the FBI.
Yeah.
We believe that the attacker or attackers are affiliated with a hacking group known as Lapsus. 2 S's and one of them's a dollar sign.
So Lapsus is a huge hacking group right now. They shut down Amazon, Cloudflare, and a bunch of other companies like earlier this year.
Oh, that's cool. Yeah,
they're going nuts.
They say they've been increasingly active over the last year or so. This has obviously generated a lot of like outcry from other game studios who are like, "Hey, please don't hack game studios so you can watch early tech demos of video games for no reason." Yeah, but there is still video floating around of GTA leaks somewhere.
Yeah, we can't show any.
I'm not going to show any of it, and you shouldn't
obvious.
watch it because you shouldn't support this behavior because it's horrible.
But we will talk just a little bit about what was in it.
And we talk about like sometimes like leaks for like Marvel movies, which I consider much different in like in circumstances because like when you go into like an early like
a leak for a Marvel movie is like a paparazzi guy zoomed in really close.
Well, it's either that or like I got invited to a test screening and I'm going to tell my friend what the plot was.
Yeah,
that's different from like
totally different.
I illegally infiltrated a company's private servers and property and leaked it,
stole all their data
for no reason. Like that's completely different from that.
Yeah.
This is This is what we horribly unprecedented though.
This is absolutely nuts that happened at all. And we do know a little bit about GTA 6 from obviously there was 90 minutes of footage. So the rumors from earlier that we covered before
about a long time ago.
Yeah, about the game featuring the first playable female character is true. It'll have a sort of a Jack and Jill kind of mechanic where there's a guy character you control and a woman character you control. It's apparently based on the sort of like Bonnie and Clyde.
Maybe that's why they sued It Takes Two.
The game also has been confirmed to take place in Vice City again, which is the location of one of the games. I don't play GTA.
GTA Vice City was the one that took place in Vice City.
Well, yeah, but which game was that?
Yeah, the game was called Vice City.
It didn't have a number.
No, okay, so there's the numbered ones, and then there's the other ones that are just like named after a city.
So it's one of the other ones
that are full games, but they just don't count in the main line.
Those are usually like spin-offs.
Those aren't developed by Rockstar in-house. Those are developed like San Andreas was one of them.
But again, those are usually done that way because they're for other consoles than like the mainline ones.
No, they're usually on the same ones.
Because I know one of them. I know Vice City Stories was just like a PlayStation
So
portable.
Vice City came out in 2000. Vice City came out in 2002. Came out on the PlayStation and the Xbox.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I don't remember.
So
I know
yeah.
Vice City Stories, which was another full game,
Yeah.
was developed for the PlayStation portable.
I don't know, like I don't know why they put like some that are numbered one, some aren't. I believe it's just because they're developed. Because like before they decided that they wanted to take 15
it's
years.
like Kingdom Hearts. It's like there's only 3 main ones, but there's a bajillion of them that have like just random words for names.
Main series. So their main series consists of 7 games. But they're okay, so it goes Grand Theft Auto, Grand Theft Auto 2, Grand Theft Auto 3, Grand Theft Auto Vice City, Grand Theft Auto San Andreas, Grand Theft Auto 4, which is the 5th game. No, sorry, the 6th game. No, yeah, the 5th game. No, the 6th game. Sorry. Grand Theft Auto 4 is the 6th Grand Theft Auto.
GTA 6 is out?
And then Grand Theft Auto 5 is the 7th Grand Theft Auto.
Makes sense.
But there is also a bunch of spin-offs. There's Grand Theft Auto Vice City Stories, Liberty City Stories.
Don't forget the remastered
Grand Theft Auto
trilogy
Advance, which of course was on the Game Boy Advance. Chinatown Wars, which is a DS game.
You know, DS makes sense.
Grand Theft Auto Online, which is its own thing.
Well, it's basically just
They did the
GTA 5.
remaster of 3 of them a year ago that everyone hated. That was like a remaster of the mobile
What do
ports.
you
of
mean?
them.
Everyone loved that game.
Real great. Yeah, this sucks. Don't hack. But I mean, I guess we're gonna get to see footage of Grand Theft Auto before it comes out in 4 years.
Ooh. Yeah, we got some crappy footage.
Look at that,
Awesome.
guys. Well, look at what you achieved.
Look what you done did. And it's like, again, I'm not saying that like the game looks bad because it's clearly unfinished. It was not intended
No,
to
it's
be
like
seen.
it's supposed to come out like years from now.
Yeah, the game was not intended to have even been revealed yet.
Yeah.
I believe Video Game Donkey said that the footage looks like a finished Ubisoft game. That's the level of quality we're talking about
Yeah.
here.
All right. Good delay on the
I
laugh.
just got the joke.
All right. So that is our news for this week. We can now move into
Our review.
Let's Talk.
Which I thought we moved to the front. Are we doing that still, or are we doing those in the middle now?
Also, I gotta start getting ready for bed because I need
Well,
to start going to bed.
That's
Like,
good because you didn't even see this
Yeah,
movie.
did you see The Woman King,
That's
Patrick?
okay. So I'll talk to you guys
Oh,
soon.
okay. I'll talk
Alrighty,
to you
bye-bye
later.
then.
Bye.
Alrighty.
Okay.
And Patrick is out of here.
Gone. And this is at the timestamp 49:17 about. I'm gonna write that down so I know where to take away the little Patrick icon in the
Oh, I
video.
got you. Okay. Anyway,
Just give me
so
one
starting things
second.
off, this is the new movie with the person whose name I forgot a minute ago.
Viola Davis.
Viola Davis. She plays. I don't remember the character.
I don't remember any of
She plays female warrior woman.
Let me look up the character names.
And she leads a tribe, or not a tribe, like a force, like a
military-
group,
like I guess like it's a
like
military
an elite
squadron.
squad. But
I believe
like a
she's
big
just a
one.
general of like the entire military, but she specifically uses the
women
the
army,
all-female one.
which has its own name, but I don't remember any of the
Niska.
names. I don't know why.
Niska is Viola Davis's name.
Yes. So the main character is just like this girl that we meet at the beginning of the movie. And she gets like sold to the army by her father, who can't find anyone to marry her because like she wants the rebelliousness and also doesn't want to get beat up by like old fat dudes. So she gets thrown into the army and then she starts training. She doesn't really get buff. She just kind of gets less.
She
sad
gets
about
better
her
at
life.
fighting.
So yeah, she starts fighting the stuff and the dudes, and they kill some people, and then they decide that they don't want to do slavery anymore. And they go, "Hey, King, I don't want to do slavery anymore." He goes, "Okay, well, what can we do?" And she goes, "Let's sell oil." And he goes, "How much oil do we have?" And they go, "Not a lot." And he goes, "Okay, well, we're gonna keep doing slaves then," except they don't. Then they fight all the Spanish dudes, and they kill one of them especially hard. And then the Spanish leave, and then the Tahome live forever in peace, except for this whole thing was made up. And that's not at all how the real life history of it went, but that's how the
We'll
movie
get
goes.
into that here in a minute, but okay. Generally, I thought this was a very good movie.
Mhm.
I thought it was very, very well made, like for 98% of it.
Yes.
I have a couple of technical problems I need to point out, but other than that, it's like perfectly well made. It's well shot. It's well directed. The performances in it,
The
specifically
performances are really good.
specifically from Viola Davis, like they're all incredible. They're great. They transform into their characters. They look like they're just from that time. They're awesome. They're a great performance.
The like period piece aspect of it is done very well.
Yeah, Viola Davis is going to get nominated for an Oscar. The costume design is great. For the most part, I love the production design. The parts I don't like aren't really their fault, though, so I don't really
Yeah,
blame
the
them for it.
parts of it that are okay. So there's my two biggest problems with it is one, the whole story is just completely made up.
Yeah,
That's not all
we'll
how it
get
happened.
to.
And two, there's a lot of character relationships that are just not flushed out very
Yeah,
well.
okay,
At
I
all.
was gonna get to that. So my only problem with like the production design.
Oh,
is-
and the camera was way too close for like 90% of the movie. Back it up a little bit.
Yeah. My problem was that there's only really like two major locations in the entire movie.
Yeah.
And so
The
for
whole
most
movie
of
takes place in
for
one
most of it,
room.
we feel like we're running back and forth the entire time, which can feel a little jarring. But other than that, I think it's perfectly fine. The locations themselves look great. The
sets in this movie are fantastic.
they're well designed. They're like fun to look at. They're great. I don't mean fun to look at because there's like slavery.
They are well designed.
They're well made.
It's not, slavery.
I don't enjoy looking at that.
They know that.
Nobody does that. My problem is mostly with the scripts, which I feel like I say it all the time, but it feels like a first draft where it's like all the elements to make.
See, I feel like there's pieces missing. I feel like it was chopped up in editing.
So this is PG-13, right?
This movie should have been rated R.
It was definitely.
The fact that it's rated PG-13 holds it back.
I think
so much.
I think it was 100% shot to be rated R.
Yeah,
And they cut it down.
and reshot stuff.
And I think it's only about an hour 15 minutes. I feel like it was longer originally, and I feel like Sony stepped in and cut it down to 2 hours.
Yeah,
15.
because there's all these different like bloody battle scenes where they're like cutting dudes' heads off, stabbing dudes, flipping around, killing all these people, and it's like it's always like a little bit off screen, which makes all the camera angles just a little weird.
Yeah,
because the camera can't focus on the action, so it's always
because it's
filming,
constantly cutting away
yeah,
right
because it's
before
constantly
it
cutting
happens.
away right before the interesting thing happens, which sort of brings down a lot of the fight, like the action scenes. And then there's like a lot of bath scenes where they're just like talking in the bathtub.
They're all
and
fully clothed.
They're always fully clothed in the bathtub, which I'm not saying they need to be naked in the movie. But if you're going to be in a bath scene, one, they either need to be taking a bath, or two, make that scene take place not in a bathhouse. If the characters are just going to be talking normally, fully clothed, have them talk like in an office or like in the battle where the training grounds where every other conversation takes place.
So my main problems with the script are like I feel like all the elements that could make this movie like really, really good are there.
Yeah,
like
it has all the pieces for a great movie.
The script doesn't feel like it has anything missing. I just feel like
it does a little bit.
I don't know if that's the script though. I think that just might be the cut. But I feel like all the elements are there, but they're not like fleshed out well. It feels a lot of it's just like thrown in. We're not in spoilers yet, but there's like a twist like halfway through.
There's
the
a
movie.
big twist, and I actually think it was done pretty well.
But it's out of nowhere.
Yeah,
it's like a soap opera. Like they just throw it at you. It's not set up at all.
Yeah, it just kind of happens.
It just kind of it's just like they throw all of the information about it to you over this course of about 10
minutes. It seems like they came up with that part of it last minute.
Yeah, and they just didn't bother to go back and like work it in earlier because they introduce a lot lot of elements that are like that you should have known beforehand, but they just
because I brought that up in the theater. There's I guess we'll talk about spoilers
in a minute later.
There's a certain scene where one of the characters reveals a piece of information as like just casually, and it's like a really important thing to know.
For their motivation and for like the entire plot line.
I was just like, wait, huh? Wait, that was, huh?
Which is weird because one of my other problems with it is that earlier in the movie, literally every character in the entire movie just goes one by one explaining all of their motivations.
Explains their motivation.
So like all of them are just like explaining all these like useless details, but
the really important details they completely omit until the very end.
And they save until right before it's important.
Yeah.
There's also a lot of like subplots that don't go anywhere that feel like they're wasting time.
There's a lot of like this isn't really a spoiler. But there's like the main girl who's like training and like learning to be one of these warriors has like a sort of a rivalry going with one of the other girls that like sort of was recruited at the same time. But it just sort of ends and then there's no conclusion to it. They're like kind of rivals for a little bit.
It's only
and then they forget about that character.
It's only in a couple of scenes as well.
Yeah.
They like set it up early and then like it comes in at like the end of like her training. Yeah, and that's it. And then like there's no middle part where it comes into play.
There were 3 main girls in the training. There was our main character. There was her rival who was a slave from the neighboring village.
Another one.
And then there was just another girl who was just like part of their friend group. The one that was a kidnapped slave girl and then the main girl are like rivals and they're sort of like competing with each other and all these different like little events they're doing. And then the other one is just like friends with them. And she's just like, happy to be here, guys.
And one of them dies. But I forget which one it is because
spoilers.
Was it the rival?
The rival one, dies.
Okay,
in the last battle.
The rival one dies.
But it was the second one, the one that was just part of the group.
Just disappears.
That just disappears halfway through the movie.
Yeah, we don't know what happens with her.
She's just gone.
She's not in the end. They don't mention her. She's not in the scene that gives her any sort of closure. She's just absent from the film.
There's a chance that maybe I was in the bathroom and she died at some point.
No, they just didn't conclude that.
Never mind then.
I know. Well. Not concluded is strong because she didn't have an arc, but like she just doesn't pop up again.
She stopped being in the
after
movie.
A certain point. She's just not there anymore.
Like they focused on her a lot and then completely cut her out.
Yeah,
it's a little odd. The other main issue I had in terms of character interactions,
queen stuff,
is the queen and the general. So the woman king is a concept that's mentioned at the beginning.
Yes,
they're like, that we used to have a woman king and a man king. But eventually we
just had a man king.
Just had a man king.
But the new king likes the old ways, so he might want a woman king.
So we're supposed to understand that the king is looking to appoint a woman king.
Yes.
But that's never made clear. They say one time that the king kind of likes that idea.
Yeah.
But the king never mentions that. None of the other characters mention that outside of that one interaction.
It's not
outside of that interaction, it's unfamiliar to the rest of the characters as a concept.
Our main character never shows any sort of like strive to be the woman king either.
Yeah, it's just Viola Davis's character.
It's mentioned by others that she might become it, but she herself never shows any like particular interest in becoming the woman king.
And we also don't know what the requirements are to become the woman king.
Or what their responsibilities are. Or what makes them different from the man king.
So what ends up happening is the queen, which is the king's wife, which he has like a whole like what is the word? Harem. He has like a whole harem of women.
He has like 20 wives.
But only he has one favorite that's like his wife that he's married to.
I guess.
At least that's what it's implied.
Okay.
That's what's implied. She's like constantly trying to like undermine Viola Davis's character and like trying to get the king to sort of sway to her side. She's clearly like trying to become well, I say clearly, but we didn't know this until afterwards when we sort of started talking about it. But she's trying to become the woman king, but that was not made. Since we don't know how that is achieved, it's unclear that is her goal.
It's presumably that just like the king has favor with you, but like
if that's the case,
if you're married to him, wouldn't you just like that's just like default? Like you would
think, yeah,
you would think. But the weird part is that he has like 20 wives, right? Only one of them ever talks.
Only one of them is talks.
But like that one, like whenever she is talking, he shows like outward. Like,
he's like
anger towards her.
He doesn't of this idiot.
Like anytime she's on screen with him, he like doesn't like he outwardly dislikes her. So it's really weird that the competition is between like the lady he respects and like the other lady he's constantly angry at.
Yeah, in the universe of the movie, I think Viola Davis's character saved the king as like a child.
Yeah.
And so there's like he sort of has a deep, lasting respect for her, and then his wife is just like a woman that exists and is around.
She's there.
And so it comes off as like I did not know that they were competing for this title until afterwards when we were talking about it, and I was like, Oh, I guess because they don't like each other. Throughout the movie,
That is clear.
They're constantly snipping at each other, and they're constantly sort of like, batting back and forth with
And the
opposite
main
ideas.
reason is that the one that's married to the king likes slavery, and then Viola Davis's character doesn't.
Yeah, so they're constantly bickering back and forth. But since we don't know that how the woman king is appointed or achieved, I was unaware that the queen was doing that in order to
actively
become the
pursuing
woman.
that role.
I didn't know that was her goal.
Which would you think is like she's technically already the queen. So like, what's the real difference there?
Yeah, I don't. Again, since and this isn't really the movie's fault, but since we don't really have a thorough
Clear
understanding of how the government
their
works,
government works at
it's
all.
unclear what the role of the woman king
Because
is.
if you're appointed by the
Spoiler
king,
alert: Viola Davis's character at the end of the movie is appointed,
which you can
the
assume
woman
because
king.
that's what the movie
That's what
is
the movie's
called.
called, and she's on the poster, so you can make guesses. But yeah, at the end, the man king goes, "You are now the woman king," and then she like sits on a chair, and I'm like, okay, that's cool, but like,
What do you do?
what does that mean though?
And do you have the same power as the man king because you
If
were
you do,
appointed
can
by
you
him?
unappoint him and be the only king?
Because it feels like what I said
feels
is
like he's the king.
imagine
person.
Imagine if like the vice president, the president got to pick like the secondary president.
Well,
like
he does. That's the thing.
But like that'd be like if the vice president had the same powers as the guy who picked him for the job.
Yeah. Well, it's like Rome where they had like two emperors.
Yeah.
Or not two emperors. Whatever they called them, consuls. I don't remember. But they have two leaders.
Yeah.
Obviously, that went super well.
So now we'll get into spoilers.
Yeah, so spoilers for the big plot.
The
There's
big plot twist is that the main
girl, the one who was training to become
let me
a warrior.
look it up. Is it Nawi?
Nawe, yeah.
Nawe, yeah. Nawe is Niska's daughter.
Niska's Viola Davis's character.
Yeah. Who? So she was sexually assaulted, got pregnant, had the kid.
Which is a big deal for them because they're not supposed to have kids or like
that, and like
that's like the code of like this like
the main villain is the one who assaulted her. That's revealed early on.
Well, this sort of main villain.
It's implied.
Well, we know he's the one that did it.
Not the white guy. Not the
slave trader. The other guy.
The leader of the other
other tribe that they're
the other kingdom or tribe
they don't like,
that they're constantly at war with.
Yeah,
that's another part of the movie is that they're at war with a tribe that is working with the slave traders
government. Yeah,
which is more than they do because they also do, but I don't. Whatever.
We'll get into that. Yeah. We'll criticize the movie
and then we'll
on its own merits, and then we'll talk about the historical issues.
Yeah. So Nawe, sorry, is revealed to be Niska's daughter, like an hour into the movie, all at once.
Yeah. So she is like she got wounded in one of the fights, no, she got wounded in the train in the bush thing, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So for their part of their final test, they had to like run through a thorn bush, like a big thorny bushel thing, and she got all cut up because she went back to save one of her friends. And so she's like getting all bandaged up, and Niska comes up and she's like, "Hey, you did good, kid." And then she's like, "Oh, yep, I sure did." And then she notices like a scar on
her back.
Nawe's, or what was it?
Is there like her arm?
Like sort of like her shoulder.
Yeah, I guess.
And she like sort of looks at it, and then she sort of like Niska like starts to freak out, and she runs off, and she talks to her best friend, and she's like, "Oh, it might be the girl because her best friend is the only one that knows. It might be her." And then later on in the movie, or like a few scenes later, Niska's taking a bath, and is it Nawe?
Nawe, yeah.
Nawe walks in, and she's like, "Hey, sorry about." She talked to a guy. It's kind of confusing to explain. She goes in and she starts apologizing for events in the movie, and then Viola Davis grabs her arm and goes, "I put a shark tooth in this bait." Tells her the whole story. "I put a shark tooth in my baby. I'm gonna see if it's you." And she cuts her arm. Shark tooth comes out. It's her. And this all happens over the course of like 10 minutes. And it was just like,
yeah.
Huh?
So it's also revealed that
she was also an orphan. Like
that she was an orphan. All of that is revealed all at once. They reveal that she is an orphan, that Niska had a kid, that the kid is hers, and that the daughter finds out about all of this all within the course of like 10 minutes.
Or at least it felt that way. I think it was longer than that.
It might have been a little bit, but it was all at once. It was not
a little
spread
rushed
out. But they reveal all that, and then at the end of the movie, there's like a sort of a resolution where she's like, "You're my daughter," and she's like, "I guess I am."
Yep.
And so we're all good now. The other thing that didn't work for me was the romantic subplot.
Yeah, there was
which was
I forgot
just
about that.
completely off. No kidding. It was completely off. It went nowhere. It was a complete waste of time every single time they brought it up.
Yeah, it was just kind of like thrown in because I feel like they felt like they had to do it.
Yeah, like they were like, and they like try to work it in, but
So,
it doesn't.
I guess
work
we'll
in.
explain that. So the Spanish slavers,
Yes.
there's two main dudes like running the operation. There's the slaver guy who looks kind of like he looks a little bit like Timothy Chalamet. I don't know what the actor's name is.
It's
That's what I was thinking. That's what I was thinking the whole time. Is this guy looks like
I
Timothy
forget
Chalamet? And then
he
there's this
is.
other guy he's like half Tahome, half Spanish.
With Spanish, yeah.
Or American, I think. I don't remember where he was from.
Let's see.
But
The guy who plays, so the two Spanish.
there's a white guy and a mixed guy.
There's a white guy and a mixed guy. The white guy is the kid from After,
Uh-huh.
the YA like 50 Shades of Grey knockoff series. And then the other guy is named Jordan Boulder. He doesn't have a thing. I'm looking him up. But
anyway, so
whatever.
yeah, the mixed dude ends up meeting with Nanawe,
yeah,
and they sort
it's
of
just Nawe. It's not
Nanawe.
no.
Sorry, Nanawe is the shark from DC.
From Suicide Squad.
That's,
Sam.
yeah, it's King Shark. But anyway, so they like meet while he's taking a bath, and she's looking for a whetstone to sharpen her sword, and they sort of have a meet cute thing, and they like
Yeah, which is out of nowhere, and
yeah, it's just like
there's
randomly
no reason
happens.
for either of them to be there at all.
Yeah, and then so
Also, apparently the writers thought that a whetstone is literally just a wet rock.
which I mean, no,
It kind of is, but it has to be a specific type of stone.
yeah. Anyway, so they meet at this place, and then they sort of have this sort of off and on. They keep like meeting up and talking to each other.
Yeah.
They have a romance sort of spurs, but we know that they can't get together because
Yeah.
of the whole code of the
They're not
warriors or
allowed to
whatever.
have relationships.
And that's literally it. That's the whole romance.
And then at the end, he
I was gonna explain more, but
gives
that's
her a
literally
dress,
He gives her a dress because she
and he lets.
right. So at the end, spoilers for the whole ending, I guess.
Well, we're already in spoilers.
Yeah. So the Tahome get captured, or some of them get captured in this big fight against the tribe, the rival tribe that they don't like. The rival tribe that they don't like takes Nawe and a couple other like named characters to the Spanish slavers, and they're all stuck in this cage. And then Naniska comes up with the rest of them, and they free the ones that they captured, and they kill all the slavers. And
well,
before they killed all of them, the mixed guy bought
Malik. His name is Malik.
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 Malik buys
Nawe.
Nawe. I have too many names.
So many names.
So he buys her, and then he's like, "I don't actually want to own you. Here's your keys. Have some clothes."
There's like a weird scene where like, so he lives in like a hotel room.
This scene was so
funny, 'cause
it makes no sense.
It makes no sense.
So they were implied to be aggressively cuddling. I
Okay,
guess.
so the main girl is in canon 19, like in the movie 19, and then the actress is probably like 25.
Yeah.
But she looks like she's like 14 years old.
yeah, she looks
And
very young.
the guy who plays Malik is like
concerningly young.
looks like he's like 35.
Yeah.
And so there's this relationship, but it looks like she's a little kid. So it's
Yeah,
really
it looks
weird.
a little weird. Which isn't her
He
fault.
buys her. They have a scene in like his hotel room, I guess.
It's like almost an implied.
It's almost
sex scene,
implied,
but it's not.
but they don't. They like cut away really early, and then like they cut back to it later, and she's like
now like wearing
she's like
wearing a bed.
she's
sheet.
like wearing like a bed sheet, and she's standing on a balcony, and then like she calls his name when there's like chaos happening outside, and he runs in.
He
from
comes
the
in
door.
through the door, which I thought was a door to another room. Because he's shirtless.
Because
when
he's
he
not
walks
wearing
in.
a shirt. And I don't think he's wearing pants either. He might be wearing
No, he
pants.
was wearing pants. He just didn't have a shirt on. And then a few seconds later, someone knocks on the door and he opens it and answers them. So he was just
walking
randomly
He wasn't
walking
wearing
around
shoes either.
outside
He was
with no
walking
shirt.
around with no shirt or any shoes on.
Yeah, he was wearing no shoes, no shirt, just like standing outside of his own apartment.
And then he runs back in to give her clothes, and he just has a dress with him.
Again,
That fits her.
And he was living by
He
himself.
was living by himself.
So that means that this guy came here with a dress for himself and was also standing
Was in a-
outside half naked
In a
for no
one-room
reason.
apartment with a balcony, and was just running around outside by himself, shirtless.
Which, I mean,
He's got
do
to
what
do
you
him.
got to do, man.
I feel like
but as a scene, it did not make any sense.
it makes because it feels like there was like supposed to be a separate room, but they just didn't
And again,
bother.
we're not saying the whole movie is bad because of this scene.
No.
This is just one particular scene
I just
that
thought
I
it was
found
funny.
Yeah.
Because that like you think like because when he rushes in, you're like, okay.
Also, this whole scene happens as the Tahome are coming in and freeing all the slaves.
There's this whole action scene going on. There's just this part where he's running around, where he runs in after being outside shirtless. It's not important. It's whatever. Okay. Back to good stuff though. The action scenes, the parts that they don't cut away from are really, really well done.
Yeah.
They're really intense. The choreography is great. They're well shot.
You really get the sense that these are like super like intimidating.
Yeah,
warriors.
and you get it, and you really, without them showing it, you really do get a sense of how brutal they're being.
Yeah.
Just from the sound and like the way that the actors are moving, it's really, 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 really great. So I don't want you to like when we're kind of pooping on it, but this movie is really, really good, and it is really, really well done most of the time.
It's worth seeing. We're just sort of nitpicking at some scenes and some sort of like character
that we thought were
things
funny.
that we thought were funny. Could have been done better.
My only technical problems are there's a couple parts where the dubbing is really, really bad, and I think it's just because they were outside and there's like
there's some scenes where there was one scene where they were walking together in like a group.
Yeah, and the dubbing was real bad.
And the dubbing was sort of not mixed.
And it was also noticeable because like you can tell like one character was using on-set audio and then the other characters were dubbed in, and you can tell they're using the difference.
Mics, yeah.
And then there's also a couple scenes. It's mostly during an action sequence where it all takes place at the same time, but the lighting, and it's all outside, but the lighting changes like drastically in between shots.
Yeah.
So some of it's like really, really bright because of the sun, and then they cut away, and it's supposed to be like the same
darker,
thing, but it's like really gray because the lighting has changed. Because my guess is it was a different part of the day when they shot that part.
Yeah.
And they just didn't fix it in post. Those are my only two problems. Everything else in the movie aesthetically is amazing.
Yeah, aesthetically the movie's absolutely great. It's phenomenal.
It is definitely worth seeing. The ending's a little jarring. They just kind of like
it just kind of ends.
They all gather in a big group and they're just like, we beat the bad guys and we're not doing slavery anymore. And then they have a big party and then they stand on a hill.
Happy ending. They literally have a dance ending.
Yeah, there is a dance.
They literally have
they have a dance
Viola
party.
Davis's character is sitting on the throne. She's the woman king now, and they have a dance party, and the movie ends.
No,
that's actually how it
then
ends.
they stand on a hill as the Spanish are
that only lasts like 2
driving
seconds.
or like sailing away.
Sailing away, yeah.
Yeah.
So now we'll get into the part where
The
this
historical
whole thing is
inaccuracies.
completely made up. So first off, these guys weren't like kind of selling slaves. They sold 1 out of every like 5 slaves in the whole like slave trade. Like these guys were notorious. That was like their main thing. The actual like female warrior group were one of the least successful armies in history. They very rarely won battles and were really only existed because the king's harem had some ugly women in it and he would just banish them to go die in the army. That was really why.
Yeah, because all the women, and they do establish in the movie, all the women in the fighting force are either people they've captured or people that like families have dumped their girls in front of the king's doorstep so that he can either marry them or become a soldier.
Yeah. So, and then
because polygamy was
the whole
cool.
thing where they were like trying to get rid of slavery, that did not happen at all.
No, they just kept doing it.
In fact, not only did that not happen, but after it had been abolished in like most of the colonies and also the UK and I think also Portugal, they kept doing it to the point where Spain had to come in and try to get them to stop. They didn't drive the Spanish slavers out. The Spanish came in and tried to get them to stop doing slavery. Which I just think is a little bit funny with how the movie played out. But yeah, other than that, other than the entire movie being basically just completely wrong historically, the movie's pretty good.
Yeah. So what literally stopped slavery in the region was the British Empire coming in and making them stop doing slavery.
Yeah, they actually had to go in and be like, stop doing this. They did not give it up of their own
and they
will.
again, I don't want to make it seem like they don't address it at all in the movie. It's just not interpreted as it really happened. And
they pretend like they get rid of it in the movie.
And they don't.
In reality, they did not do that. That's not what happened.
And I feel like I don't know if like in originally the script they didn't get rid of it because it's just left ambiguous.
No, I don't think there's any version of the movie where they don't get rid of it. Because otherwise, the main character's motivation makes no sense.
The main character not wanting to do it is fine because it's fine if individual characters
if there's an individual character who wants to get rid of it, that's fine. But then you put at the end of the movie, you put her in a position of power, have them drive out all the slavers. That implies that they got rid of slavery.
They say the king literally goes, and we're not doing slavery anymore.
Which is just not true at all.
Yeah. Anyway,
also the woman king also did not exist. That's not a thing.
Just at all.
That's just made up for the movie, which is fine. Like, I don't understand why they didn't just make a thing.
Why they didn't just
like you can make it fictional. Like you don't have
it
to
is
say
fictional. None of these were real people.
Well, yes, it is fictional, but I'm saying you don't have to pretend it's not fictional. You can just make up a fictional tribe and have the story.
Yeah, but then you
play
can't
out.
put based on a true story.
That's true. You can't do that. But
and they did it because this was like an actual all team of women fighters, which there are not many.
The group did exist, and the tribe did exist, and it did function as we understand.
And there's a lot of parts that are true. The Oyo and the Dahomey were at war with each other. They mostly did work with Spanish slave traders. That's all.
A lot of it is true.
Accurate.
Yeah, but also, and yeah, I was wrong. It was not Spain. It was the British that came in. But yeah. Also, basically the ending is completely fake.
Oh, I'm sorry. They're Portuguese.
Who?
The slave traders.
Oh, yeah.
I thought they were Spanish.
Portugal was a Spanish colony at the time.
It's okay. Well,
so it's the same guys.
Yep.
But yeah, so that's the Woman King. Pretty good overall.
I liked it. I thought it was good.
Historically, completely wrong.
I don't.
But you know,
I mean, we'll see what comes out for the rest. It's not my favorite movie of the year, obviously. We'll see what comes out for the rest of the year. It'll probably get nominated for Best Picture. I don't think it should win. Viola Davis will get nominated for Best Actress, most likely. I think that's well deserved.
Yeah.
But I think an underrated performance was Lashana Lynch as Izogi, who was like
she was the trainer.
Yeah, I thought she was really great.
No, she was one of my favorite characters.
Yeah, I thought she was really great. I think she should probably get nominated for Best Supporting Actress.
Her relationship with Nawe was actually
really well
good.
developed.
I really liked seeing that group together.
So that is the case. We'll see what. Obviously, this is kind of the unofficial kickoff of like Oscar movie season. So we'll see what comes out for the rest of the year. But for now, Everything Everywhere All at Once still sweeps everything for me.
Yeah,
and it probably will at the end of the year anyway. So
all right, and what do we got next? Tucker,
so that is
what
the
on
Woman
earth
King.
is Wrexham?
Okay, so now we do our personal news / recommendation part, and we've mostly done news. But I have a recommendation for you.
Personally, recommend us something.
So if you don't know, Rob McElhenney and is it McElhenney?
I thought it was McKinley, but you told me
it's not
McElhenney.
I'm pretty sure it's McElhenney.
Sure.
And Ryan Reynolds bought a Welsh soccer team or football for international audiences, even though it was called soccer in the UK, and then they changed it.
We kept the original name, and they changed it.
And they changed it to football.
And then we made a different sport.
Because they were upset that we called it soccer also. They changed it to football. Anyway, they bought a Welsh soccer team called Wrexham AFC because it's in Wrexham in Wales. And they made a docu-series about it called Welcome to Wrexham. It's on Hulu. There's, I think, 8 episodes out right now. I've seen the first 6, and I think there's going to be like 12. But it's really, really, really interesting. It's really, really cool. It's only 30 minutes per episode, so it's not that long. It's half about like them actually buying the team, not being from Wrexham and not knowing anything about soccer.
So is it a documentary series?
It is a docu-series, yeah.
Okay.
So it's half Ryan Reynolds and half Rob McElhenney, like figuring out, like buying the team, figuring out what's going on, trying to manage a soccer club, and then the other half is about like the actual people in the town that it's about and like how like important it is to their lives and their economy and like how much it means to them. And I think it's really, really well done. It's really, really interesting. I think what it does really, really well is like get you to really care about the people. So like when they show you the sports side of it, you really are invested also because you're invested in the lives of the fans.
So it's like Ted Lasso, but real.
Sort of, I guess. But like they're not coaches.
They're not coaches, but same concept.
But they also dive into like the history of the club and like what went wrong with previous owners and like issues they're having now and what happened with COVID, obviously on the league. So it's really, really well done. It's again, it's on Hulu right now. It's still airing on FX on Thursdays, I think. So yeah, I recommend you go watch Welcome to Wrexham on Hulu.
All right, and now time for my news. The news story I brought that's different than the other news we did. So the Pokemon Company. Okay, so I guess some background. there was this podcast called the Nintendo Minute Podcast that Nintendo used to put on. It was on the Switch. It was on
On their YouTube channel.
They posted on YouTube, and it will also be like on like all their consoles, just like directly.
Let me look up the host names.
And yeah, you get the host names, but the hosts ended up leaving because they felt sort of like creatively restricted by Nintendo, which anything
Kit Ellis and Krista Yang. I think they're just called Kit and Krista.
Sorry, what was it?
Kit and
Kate and Krista. That was sort of
Kit
their
and
thing.
Krista.
Kit and Krista.
Yeah.
They left
Nintendo
because they felt sort of creatively restricted. Which,
I think they have
anything about Nintendo. That
obviously.
absolutely tracks.
Yeah, and I think they have a podcast now, which is what they were talking about.
They have their own podcast now, which is different. So apparently they were just talking on their podcast about stuff about running that
they
show.
did.
And apparently at one point they wanted to do a Nuzlocke of a Pokemon game. If you don't know, a Nuzlocke is when you play Pokemon with self-imposed rules to make it more difficult.
Yeah.
Usually the way it goes is you can only catch the first Pokemon you see on any route. And if you don't catch it, you just can't catch any Pokemon on that route. It has to be the first one you see. And if a Pokemon faints at any point, it dies. You can't use it. You have to put it in a box or release it. You can't use it anymore. And you can't use healing items. I think that's usually what the rules are for a Nuzlocke. So they wanted to do that. They wanted to basically do like Pokemon hard mode. And the Pokemon company told them that playing the game that way is akin to hacking or using cheating devices.
Yeah, and this is not that. This is literally just a way to play the game on your own. You can do this by yourself with no hacking.
It's like deciding not to play like deciding to play Minecraft without using the sword.
It is entirely using tools built into the game itself.
You're not modifying the game in any way other than you personally are choosing to play.
It's the same thing as like if you wanted to play the game only using Pokemon that are blue. It's literally that. There's no any sort of game altering stuff that goes into this at all.
But Pokemon said that activity was akin to hacking, which is the most absurd and
nonsense
claim to make. That just goes to show how like sort of up their own butts
completely toned deaf. They have no idea what's going on
about their games. Like, if you play our game a way that's different from the way we intended, that is hacking. No, it isn't. That is not how video games work. If you want it to be that way, make a movie. Don't make a video game. In video games, the player chooses things. I don't know if you knew this, Pokemon Company, but when you play a video game, the player can choose to do things.
Yeah.
Now, in movies, the player cannot choose. They can only watch what happens. Yeah. So if that's what you want to do, stop making games and start making only movies. That's what you clearly want to do.
It's akin to like say like a Telltale game. Like a choose your own adventure game.
It's like saying if you take a specific path.
Like if you don't pick the choices they want you to do, then you're breaking the rules.
Yeah, that's so dumb. That's like, playing like Call of Duty and only using one gun and saying that's hacking. You only used one gun. Like, no, what?
Apparently, they threatened to fire them for even pitching it to them.
Yeah, which, I wonder why they left.
It's just,
But yeah, that's absolutely absurd.
As, the Pokemon Company, I feel like the Pokemon Company is worse than Nintendo. Nintendo will I think they'll occasionally
every once in a while Nintendo will throw creators a bone.
Oh, that and they'll listen to the audience.
Yeah.
But the Pokemon Company, also Nintendo itself has a really high quality standard internally.
Now, again, to make a distinction for those of you who are unaware,
yes,
Nintendo does not own the Pokemon Company. They just own part of them and they work very closely with them. But the Pokemon Company is a joint operation between Nintendo, and Creatures Inc., and Game Freak. So it's like three companies that make one product. But there's more to Pokemon than just Nintendo. So that's when we say the Pokemon Company, that's who we're talking about. Anyway, continue.
Anyway, yeah. So I feel like the Pokemon Company is slightly worse than Nintendo because they don't have a quality standard at all. They'll put out a game that they made in 6 months and it's a piece of crap. They don't care.
They'll add new stuff to the card game that's absolutely, completely not balanced in any way, shape, or form.
Yeah, they'll do whatever they want. And I feel like they're even less aware of what's going on the internet.
Like people talk a lot about the Pokemon card game as like a sort of a fun, sort of gotcha game, but as an actual game,
it's broken.
It is fundamentally and completely broken.
If you buy the good cards, You just get to
You
win.
just win. There's like the strategy is people will probably
Go to Walmart, buy the 10 card packs, get the best guy, put him in play, give him all the power he needs, and then he could just one-shot every character in the entire game.
That's not technically always true, but that's basically how the game works.
If you
watch the Pokemon like Masters tournaments, there's a little bit more going on.
They
but
know
not
how to
much more.
They know how to like game the system using like assist cards and like trainers and stuff. But like if it's just you and a friend playing, it always comes down to I have a guy who does 100.
One really cool card, and
my guy does 150, and your guy does 160, so you're gonna win every single time.
So that the Pokemon company's broken. Fix it.
Yeah, some things never change, Sam.
Like the Pokemon company being dumb.
Do you think they sent Kit and Krista a cease and desist via fax?
Probably.
They were like, no, you can't.
You actually cannot play that game that way, or we will fire you. Like that is insane.
They don't know what it is. They didn't know what it was.
Yeah, they didn't know what a Nuzlocke was.
They saw it like they saw a thing called a Nuzlocke one time, and they went, that's probably cheating and or a fan game. No.
Yeah. Now, in a lot of Nuzlocks on YouTube will use like randomizer mods to like make the game more random and like more crazy and make it more, more fun to watch like as a video. But
most people are just doing it by themselves.
Most people are just doing it by choosing to do certain things in the game.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think that pretty much
that's gonna do
everything
it
for this episode.
For this week's show. Next week, don't worry, Darling comes out.
We even gonna watch that?
I don't know.
If we watch it,
if Harry Styles is funny bad, I'll see it.
Oh, but we will be talking about Andor next week. The first 3 episodes came out literally today.
But I haven't had a chance to watch them yet.
Tucker didn't have time to watch any of them. I only had time to watch the first 2.
So we'll talk about 1 through 4 next week. So thank you, as always, for watching. If you are watching the show on YouTube and you want to listen to it on the go, we are available on Apple Podcasts and Spotify and Stitcher or wherever else you get your audio podcasts. If you are listening to the show and you want to watch it, the video is available at youtube.com/the McDoncast, or the Spotify also has a video version of the show as well.
And check out us on the Twitter and Instagram, which we don't
at
really
McDon
use. We do use Twitter. And check me out on Twitch at McDon Streams.
All right.
And
we'll see you in the next one.
Video. Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.